CTV News at 6 with Hudson Mack.
And as you just saw in Todd's report, gas prices are at their lowest in almost 2 years, and the prices are beginning to reflect at the pumps on Vancouver Island. This afternoon, gas dropped to $1 to a low of $1.16 a litre in Greater Victoria. Some stations were holding at $1.21, others have dropped to $1.18, so there are deals out there if you shop around. A few weeks ago, gas was sitting at $1.40 a litre. Last year on this day, regular fuel in Victoria was $1.26. A celebration is in full bloom at Victoria's Government House. BC's Lieutenant Governor, the Honourable Stephen Point, is inviting you to come and tour the extravagant gardens as its BC Blooms event kicks off. Around 100 people braved the rain today to take in the well-manicured yard. Everything from horticultural displays, flower arrangements and entertainment are on hand. In honour of Her Majesty the Queen's Diamond Jubilee, the Lieutenant Governor planted a tree.
It's wonderful to see people coming and sharing their love of gardens and plants, and we love to have people come onto the grounds. This is the ceremonial home of all British Columbians, so it's wonderful to see so many people here despite the weather.
Well, I can't claim to be an expert at all in the displays, but I do know they're beautiful. I find that there's a lot of work put into it. There's a lot of creativity. And certainly a lot of time and effort put into the displays. So I'm quite impressed at the distance. Some people come from Seattle, some come out of province, and so it's quite amazing.
The BC Blooms event wraps up on Saturday. The Friends of Government House on average spend nearly 2,000 hours a year to keep those gardens well kept. Plans for a giant statue in the heart of Chemainus have been toppled. The 15-meter monument would be built as a tribute to Emily Carr. The project's proponents suggested it would stand at the entrance to Waterwheel Park in downtown Chemainus. It would cost $300,000, and he wanted $75,000 in public money to help pay for it. An advisory committee was asked to gauge public support for the project and has come back with a recommendation not to support it. The committee says the overwhelming majority of people in Chemainus are against it, including the local First Nation.
We like to see anything involving Aboriginal culture and art to be supported by our local First Nations. So I think Council are going to have trouble supporting the project unless Carl Schutz is able to go back and build that support for the project. You really want public input on the location and design of public art, and especially when you're asking for public money to go into it.
The proponent says he's disappointed, but nowhere near ready to give up. He's the man who came up with the idea to paint murals throughout Chemainus 30 years ago, and says initially people didn't like that idea either.
Majority rules, so this is your choice, I go with it, and we gave it our best. However, the naysayers could not understand the vision, and I'm sorry about that. But like I said, it's no big deal. We're moving on and find a different location.
Council will debate the project and vote on whether to lend its support Tuesday night, but all indications are that it will be rejected, at least in its current form. The Vancouver Island Health Authority is encouraging young Indigenous people to rethink their careers by extending the celebration of National Aboriginal Day. Aboriginal performers were celebrating in song and dance in the First Nations Healing Room at the Royal Jubilee Hospital today. From Port Hardy to Victoria, VHA staff are marking National Aboriginal Day in a week-long celebration. Participants held a traditional smudging ceremony which drives away negative spirits. VHA says it's trying to improve health care and create more jobs in the medical field for Aboriginal people on Vancouver Island.
There's a call for improvement of health for Aboriginal First Nations people in all of Canada, and this is part of building that bridge for our communities.
VHA has a perspective on focusing on the chances and opportunities we have to enlighten opportunities on health careers. So that's what we continue to do up and down Vancouver Island, and really that's the premise of this whole Aboriginal Week, is to focus on how can we get the information out to the community members and how can we get youth involved in seeking out opportunities in health.
If you'd like to learn more about Aboriginal opportunities in the medical field, you can go to VHA's website and click on recruitment. On the heels of National Aboriginal Day, Google has announced it will give dying First Nations languages a 21st century boost. The internet giant is launching a website called the Endangered Languages Project, an online tool that will let users access audio and video archives. The site is meant to protect some of the rarest languages, including some on Vancouver Island. One of the partners in the project is BC-based. Most of the province's 34 First Nation languages are considered at risk.